Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Facebook Live Global Travel Update. Peter Greenberg here with you on board the brand new Silversea Silver Moon. My face looks a little dark. That's because I'm backlit on the top deck of the ship, brand new ship, by the way, on its inaugural cruise. And what's cool about it is, think about this, Greece was one of the first countries to reopen to Americans back in May of this year. And since then, cruising is back. This particular ship, a brand new ship on its inaugural cruise, the officers are vaccinated, the passengers are vaccinated, the crew is vaccinated. We have 100% vaccination compliance, and it's working. I'm on the island of Syros. We were in Athens yesterday. We'll be continued to a number of the other Greek islands, but I'm not staying off of the whole cruise simply because I got other things to do, like update the world and travel. So let's do that. Big news this week happened late Wednesday night. And that is the United Kingdom now relaxing restrictions and allowing vaccinated U.S. passengers to finally go to the United Kingdom without having to quarantine. By the way, that's not just the United Kingdom the way we know it. It's also Northern Ireland. It's also Scotland and Wales will be in fast pursuit of that. Things are really opening up. Ireland, as you know, is already opened. And then we've got Canada, August 9th, for U.S. passengers who are vaccinated. You can drive there, you can fly there. The doors are now open. This is a game changer in the world of travel, simply because London was such a huge deal for most American airlines and foreign countries' airlines to be able to go over the North Atlantic and use London's Heathrow not just as a destination, but as a hub. So the good news is you can go. I've had tickets to London since February of last year, which I keep rolling over. Now I get a chance to use them. That's pretty cool. Second thing, this is the bad news part of that. Airline stocks started to soar on that news, and for another good reason. That means airfares on the international routes are going to go up. Up until about yesterday, in many cases, it was cheaper to fly from, let's say, New York to Athens, where we are right now, than it was from New York to Los Angeles. Those days are now coming to an end. We're still in the middle of summer. People still want to get to Europe in August and September, especially in August, and now they can go. Now, not everybody can go because the passport situation is still a big, fat mess. 1.7 million passports in a backlog that the agencies have not been able to process. The waiting times are between 6 and 8 months. And if you are literally trying to get out of town tomorrow, good luck. Even expedited service is 12 weeks. That's 3 months. There goes your summer and most of your fall. They're trying to bring more people in. It's a very slow process. It's not working. Now, remember, there are other rules at play here that go before the pandemic. If your passport has less than 6 months of validity on it right now, you better renew it as fast as you can, even with the backlog, because most countries won't let you in. That's number one. Number two, there are some countries that if you don't have at least 2 free passport pages on your passport, they won't let you in either. So it's validity dates, and it's also how many pages. So if you're going to apply for a passport or a renewal, ask for the 52-pager, not the 24-pager. Because even though the validity of the passport is 10 years, if you run out of pages, in the old days they would have put in new pages to the existing passport. They don't do that anymore. You're going to have to apply for a new passport. So at least give yourself a head start with a larger number of pages, which anybody can ask for and you get. That's what's going on there. Now, one other part of the bad news equation is that as we're coming out of the pandemic, nickel and diming is coming back in really bad ways. We all know about those dreaded resort fees. There's still two law cases against the number of hotel chains filed by U.S. attorneys general, claiming lack of transparency, drip pricing, and failure to disclose, among other things. So what have a number of hotels done in the meantime? They've renamed them. They're no longer resort fees. They're destination fees. And it's the same bad deal. Let me give you an idea of how bad some of these destination fees are. At one hotel, for $20 a day, you know what they give you? They give you a full-length mirror in your room. Are you kidding me? Right? Then there are the charges that are not called destination fees or resort fees, but they're insidious nonetheless. There's a Fairfield Inn, which is a Marriott hotel in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Without telling their guests, they're charging you 4% of your room charge a night for the light bulbs in your room. Now, it may only amount to $4.72, but is it legal? Did they disclose it? They did not. So guess what? You can dispute it. This is the time to really be good detectives out there. Before you check into a hotel, if they do not disclose the fees, you don't have to pay them. If they don't disclose them when you make your reservation, if they don't disclose them when you check in, and if they only disclose them when you check out, as you're getting ready to race out of the hotel with your bill, you dispute that charge with your credit card. Or if you have the time to do it at the hotel, dispute it right there. 9 times out of 10, they'll take it off the bill. You know why? Because they know they shouldn't be doing it. Now, I'm not against any hotel making a profit. That's what they're in business for. So why don't you just bury that fee in your quoted room rate so that you don't get our attention with a lower rate when you're going to charge us more to begin with? That's what we have the problem with transparent pricing and failure to disclose. So there you have it. Once again, I'm on board the Silver Moon, brand new ship on Silversea, as we're cruising the Mediterranean. If you got questions, send them in today. If we can't get to them today, you can always email me to peter@petergreenberg.com. Our radio show, Eye on Travel on CBS, will be coming from this ship this Saturday, day after tomorrow. So I hope you'll tune in, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And if you don't find a network or a station in your market, not a problem. Go right to our website, petergreenberg.com. Log in on the radio icon, and we stream it live. So those are all your different options. Let's go to some of the questions here, and then I'll come back and talk about the cruise. I'm going to scroll up here as soon as I can, because we got lots of people coming in. Hello, Gina. Hello, Mary Jane Rogers Phillips. How's the boat? It's great, but it's not a boat. It's a ship. And only about 200 passengers on board. They're only operating at about 50% capacity. That's intentional for a first cruise. But look, Silversea is great. They have redefined luxury, and they're doing it in a way that, you know what, you can act responsibly. I've got my mask off now because I'm sitting in a restaurant on the ship. You see the ship behind me, but the only other time I can take my mask off is if I'm in my cabin. Not only that, I had to get tested before I got on the plane. I had to get tested when I got to Athens before I got on the ship. And as you know, returning back to the United States this weekend, I'll be tested again before I come back because I have to comply with U.S. rules. But other than that, it's great. And because Greece has figured it out, we're not in a bubble. So when we get to Syros, or we get to Rhodes, or we get to any of the other islands, we're not in a bubble where we have to be in an escorted, restricted tour. We can just walk around. Now, in the island of Syros, where I was today, you couldn't enter a building without wearing a mask. That includes restaurants and stores, but no big deal. You're still getting to enjoy it, and that's the point. Remember, Greece reopened May 15th. They figured out a way to do it because they figured out their vaccinations, they figured out where tourists like to go, and they've done a pretty good job. The other thing that Greece did, which was brilliant, because every cruise line had a problem. They needed to get their officers and crew vaccinated, but the crew couldn't get vaccinated in their home countries because their home countries, in many cases, wouldn't let them in or didn't have the vaccines. So Greece allowed the cruise ships under a special waiver to sail into Greek ports and to have the crew stay on board, and they vaccinated them here. That's why we're on the ship right now. That's why we're cruising, because they figured out a process to make it all work. Let's keep going. Greetings from LA, from Patrick Cooney. Just got back from Maui, went to Kapalua for the first time, had a great time. Okay, thank you, Willie. All right, let's keep going on here. Oh, you want me to turn around a little bit? I'm a little bit backlit here because the sun doesn't set here till around 8:30 tonight, and it's only a little bit after 7. We're 7 hours ahead of East Coast. You're just going to have to live with my darkened visage. Peter Coe, greetings from beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Indeed. Which ship am I on? It's the Silver Moon, brand new ship in the Silversea fleet. Hello from Alaska. Speaking of Alaska, Seattle and San Diego, Alaska. Let's keep going here. Canadians and EU are not allowed into the U.S. You're right. You know, this deal now with the UK lessening the restrictions and allowing us there is no different in many respects than what the European Union did, allowing us to go to 27 of their countries if we can prove vaccination. There has been no reciprocity, and it may not happen right away. And the reason why the U.S. is not letting anybody in is not about politics, although you might claim it is. It's about whether or not the United States will recognize people who've been vaccinated with AstraZeneca or with the Sino vaccine. And right now they haven't resolved that issue, and until they do, they're not going to do it. Hello from Reno. Bonjour from Ventura. Okay. Destination fees in Boston hotel includes faxes? All right, guys. This is truly old school craziness. When was the last time anybody here sent a fax? And yet they're putting that in as a destination fee exclusive, that if you want to send a fax, you can? Wow. All right. Let's go back up here again. We have more questions coming in. Hold on. Sometimes it scrolls faster than I want to do it. Waiting for our ships to come in here in San Diego. They're coming, Gina. How's your experience on the Silver Moon? I love Silversea's spacious suites, and then everybody gets a butler. Oh, now my secret's out. I have a butler. Sorry about that. But I'm not on for the whole cruise. I'm getting off in 2 days. I came on just to report this, to share this with you, and then I'm off. But the people who are on, they're doing okay. How about London next month? Your thoughts? Absolutely. You can go as of August 2nd, and why wouldn't you? Right now, the early bird does get the worm. The airfares are not going to really go up until the second week in August. Go now. Remember, they're open as of August 2nd. That's next Monday. All right. Joy Dan, I've gone to Mexico 2 times this year. They did not stamp my passport. They said they don't do that anymore. Is that true? I haven't experienced that. They stamped my passport, and I was only there about a month and a half ago. But we'll check into that for you. Here's one from Anna who says, my passport will expire in 2022. With the backlog, I'll claim it lost so I can renew sooner. Is that a good idea? It's only a good idea if you're not planning to go anywhere until 2022. Remember, we're dealing with a 6-month backlog here. Can I use my valid passport in the interim despite claiming it lost? What do you think? No, you can't. The minute you claim it lost, it's basically flagged in the system. No, one way or the other, you have to figure this out. Okay, here we go. Hi from Arizona. We are scheduled to be on a river cruise August 14th, and we'll be in Lucerne August 10th for 4 days, and Amsterdam post-cruise. Do you think it'll be okay if we wear masks? Yes, you will. Absolutely. Okay, flying to Orlando. Oh, Nancy says, I'm flying to Orlando from San Diego next week. What's your recommendation for how early we need to get to the airport? Well, listen, I love Lindbergh Field in San Diego. I think it's a very manageable field and an airport. I call it field because that's how far back it goes. But the bottom line here is this summer is madness, no matter where you go. All of our flights, by the way, to Athens, right? I watched them on the runway. We came in on American, but there's United and Delta, completely full. Airports are jammed, and they're jammed between the islands as well. Same thing in San Diego. People are traveling this summer, right? We know this. TSA is now routinely screening 2 million passengers a day. It's not an aberration anymore. So here's the deal. Are you checking bags? Now, you know how I think about that. Only 2 kinds of airline bags, carry-on and lost. If you're flying domestically, I FedEx my bags. But if you're not doing that and you're checking bags, 2 things I want you to do. You got to get to the airport an hour earlier than you normally would, right? Because you're going to check bags. And then the second thing is, before you ever make a reservation, remember this. When you go online to make a reservation, the way it's all structured is the cheapest fare comes up first. And that gets your attention. You got to look for something else, because so many of us take connecting flights. What's the connection time between your flights? And chances are it's suicidal. I've seen one as low as 32 minutes. You could be an Olympic athlete in the sprint and not make this. And that's even if the plane's on time. What about your bags? Give it up. Do yourself a favor. Scroll down. It may only be a fare differential of about $10 to $15, but get a flight that connects with a 90-minute window. And this is why. Airlines are full these days, right? They're full. So even if you miss the first flight, in the old days, they put you on the next available flight. Today, that next available flight is not available. It's full. you're going to be spending the night at the airport, and not the airport you wanted to go to. So give yourself a 90-minute cushion here on your connect time, and you'll be much better off. So will your bags. Good morning from Carlsbad. Okay, hello, Sandy. Which hotel do I recommend in Jerusalem? Well, if you really want to go back in history, it's the American Colony. It's where all the journalists hang out. Up until about 4 years ago, they still had a UPI machine in the lobby. I mean, talk about dating yourself. But there are a number of really great hotels now in Jerusalem, and it's not just the King David. The King David, to me, is a little dated and old, although it's got such great history. There are many others, and you know what? We'll put that on our website. Okay. Nikki says, I'll just stay in the USA, Florida, till the masks are not required. I can't imagine how miserable I'd be on Silversea. Do I look like I'm miserable? Do I look like I'm miserable? I'm not. And if I had the mask on right now, which I'm going to put on the minute I walk out of here, I'm going to be happy as well. So you're not going to be miserable. I'm telling you. And when you get off the ship, nobody's requiring you to wear a mask on the streets, right? It's only if you're going into a store, and even that isn't always enforced. But the bottom line here on the ship is it is enforced, and isn't that great? Because this tends to be the safest place you want to be. 100% vaccine compliance, and everybody wears a mask except when they're eating. It works. And by the way, as you suggested, people are COVID crazy. They're not. How about COVID intelligent? Follow the science. All right, here's one from Robin. Hey, Robin. Miss Backy. I still call you Miss Backy. Nice to see you. Pauline says, hi. Melissa Mullen, any Egypt info gem opening? They pushing the Grand Egyptian Museum opening date back. I was just on the phone last week with their Minister of Tourism. They won't give me a date yet. My guess, and they want to make it a big deal, so I'm thinking right before Christmas. That would be my guess. But as soon as you know more, I'll let you know. Okay, Crust is saying hi from Uganda again. The pearl of Africa, as Winston Churchill once described it. Karen says, I want to go to Italy sometime in October, but I'm apprehensive buying an air ticket if the Delta variant gets much worse, and Italy might decide to close its borders, or worse, might consider prohibiting flights from the U.S. Okay, I don't think any of those things are going to happen. But even if they did, buy a ticket on a U.S. carrier to Italy, and then if you have to cancel your flight at the last minute, you're not going to get hit with either ticket change fees or an airline claiming they're going to send you a refund, right? Because they're not going to send you a refund. That's the big problem with the foreign carriers. You want a U.S. carrier that really complies with U.S. Department of Transportation rules and regulations, and then you roll the dice. Italy is fine right now. In fact, they're coming up with a COVID pass that will allow you, if you show proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test in the last 48 hours, to get into every museum and restaurant. It's going to be fine, okay? But remember, buy a ticket on a U.S. carrier that actually behaves themselves. Okay, San Diego is jamming, says Gina. Okay, where are we now? I'm going to scroll up. Okay. Oh, do I know of any new regulations to travel in Italy? No, I don't. It's open. They've been canceling flights in Reno due to jet fuel shortage. We're seeing that across the country right now. It's weird. And we're going to track that story. We have not gotten to the bottom of it, but American is actually rerouting planes, because remember, every plane has to carry enough fuel to get to their destination, plus another 45 minutes to get to their alternate. If there's a fuel shortage and they don't think the route is going to be a moneymaker, they may be canceling that flight because they don't want to put on the extra fuel if there's such a shortage. We will check into this for you. Okay, where are we now? Let's go back here. Okay. Gina says, I'd rather be in a mask on a luxury cruise than in my apartment without a mask. Or what you do is get in your apartment, draw the bath water, get in the bath, put on a sailor's hat, and ta-da, luxury cruise. Okay. Order some sushi. All right. Charles Marduk's my buddy, just back from Greece. It was awesome. There you go. Mike Lugans, Crystal Cruises just announced they will pick up in Miami and not require vaccinations, blamed lack of airlift to the Bahamas. Well, there was a lack of airlift to the Bahamas, but remember, any cruise line going out of Miami has to offer this vaccination optional because of the law that was passed by the legislature there and signed by the governor, which is now being litigated in the courts. However, remember this, for some cruise lines, like Royal Caribbean or Carnival, the deal is if you want to go on the cruise and you're not vaccinated, you have to provide proof of $10,000 of medical coverage and $30,000 of medical repatriation and evacuation coverage. So there is a price to pay for not being vaccinated. Keep going here. Okay. Robert just says, we just spent a week in Italy, a few days in Venice, no border issues in France, Swiss, or Italy. Happy to hear that. Okay. What is my view regarding theaters opening at full capacity? 65% of theater goers are tourists. Not sure I want to sit next to an unvaccinated person. There's a really simple solution here. Proof of vaccination, go to Broadway. I mean, look, take any survey you want, right? How about cruise ship passengers? More than 90% of the passengers who are repeat passengers on Silversea said they wouldn't come unless everybody was vaccinated. It makes sense. Same thing for Broadway, right? What Broadway should do is use the Broadway theaters until they reopen as vaccination centers, with the stars of Broadway basically encouraging people to come get vaccinated and get an autograph at the same time. That's how you reopen Broadway. Because we know what the interiors of those theaters are like. They're like this, right? Okay. For the shared experience. Okay. Okay, Karen Ballard, my good buddy and one of the great photographers of the world, just flew round trip on the nonstop from Louisville to LAX on Spirit. She said, the cushion on my tush was a bit hard. On the way home, the seats were fine. Probably a bit older plane. Any other thoughts on the budget airline Spirit? They are doing some international flights. Well, it's not Silversea. It's not. But let me tell you about Spirit. If you don't have any bags and you're not schlepping a lot, and you understand why you're flying, right? To go from A to point B and not die. I fly Spirit. I fly Frontier. I've even flown Allegiant. Oh my God, I have. And and I got there. I'm alive. I'm talking to you. So the real reason here is you've got to come to grips with your own reasons for why you fly. If you're on board for the Krug Champagne, Spirit might not be a good choice. Okay? But if you're on the flight to get where you want to go on time, Spirit might be a great choice. They have now one of the best on-time records in the U.S. A couple of years ago, they were like dead last. They figured that out now, and they're doing better. So it all depends on what you want to do. I've flown Frontier this year on a number of flights from Islip Airport in Long Island, one of my favorite airports, down to West Palm, to Tampa, no problemo, right? And you can too. Okay, let's see. All right, Spirit Airlines. Okay, another Spirit Airlines. All right, let's go to one other shot I want to give you. And that is, when I got on this ship, the ship started in Athens, but I got on in Crete. Came on a couple of days later. And the name of the ship is the Silver Moon. Next to us, this is a wild one, was a ship called the T-Moon. No relationship. It was a freighter that had been sailing from Croatia. Take a look at this picture. Look at the bow. Whoops. How about that for a photo? That's right. Right before we docked, that boat hit an islet, small island. And the captain claimed there was a problem with his rudder. Good luck in that investigation. In any case, there's the photo up for me this week. A little bow damage. I just wanted to share that with you. Not the Silver Moon, the T-Moon. Different ship, different company. All right. Now let's go to some of your questions that you sent in. In fact, before we even do that, let's go to the photo of the week. This is a cool photo. Let's go to that. Can we put that up? It's coming. No Photoshop here. This came from Carol Rosenthal. did she take this picture? Anybody want to guess? A lavender field in Provence. Uh, and not during the Italy versus England European football championship game, which we all know who won. Italy. Uh, but in any case, uh, uh, okay, we're back. Sorry, guys. We're at sea. Difficult signal, but we're back. I hope you're back with me, and we'll try this again. Sorry about that. All right, I'm back. I hope you guys have stayed with me. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know. Good. The question from Barbara was, when's the best time to go to Greece? And the answer is not now, even though I'm here. It's about 85 to 90 degrees here right now. The best time to go to Greece, this is even pre-pandemic advice, is September. It's the magic month in the Mediterranean. The crazies are not here. The crowds are not here. You're here. Even now, as Americans are flooding into Greece. 2 days ago, we were in Santorini. Normally at this time of the year, there'd be 9 different cruise ships there. I mean, it would be wall-to-wall people, unmanageable. This year, 2. Us and 1 other ship, small number of passengers. It was brilliant. So that's good news. But September, in any case, is when you want to go. What's happening with Spain? Can they travel to the U.S.? No, they can't. not lifted the restrictions. There's been no reciprocity with the U.S. and foreign travelers yet. Hopefully that will happen when they resolve the vaccine situation in terms of honoring AstraZeneca and the Sino vaccine. Here's one from Zora. I'm taking a cruise in October in Europe, then flying into Portugal for a week and then going to Belgium. 1, do I need to take a COVID-19 test? Yes. I already have both of my vaccines. That's fine, but it doesn't matter. And 2, what company would I recommend to buy my travel insurance, please? They are so expensive. No, they're not. Let me explain the 2 types of insurance you need to buy. And I mean 2. 1 is trip cancellation and interruption insurance. And that's usually offered on every website you sign on for. Don't buy that insurance online. Big mistake, because they don't tell you what you're covered for, and what's worse is they don't tell you what you're not covered for. Instead, call your travel agent, your travel advisor. They can sell you an insurance product, but most importantly, they can walk you through the hieroglyphics and explain to you what you're covered for and what you're not covered for, whether there are any kind of exclusions or pre-existing medical exclusions that would make your policy worthless. That's the first kind of coverage. The second kind of coverage, which I heartily recommend, is medical evacuation and repatriation insurance. There are 2 companies that offer it that I like. One is called MedJet Assist, the other is called Travel Guard. They have great provisions in their policies so that if you get sick or injured overseas, they will pay to get you medically stabilized there, and then in consultation with your own personal physician. After all, who knows your medical history better than your own doctor? They will then get you to a doctor and medical facility of your choice. That's a big deal. A lot of other medical evacuation policies don't carry that. That's the one you want, when you get to make a choice as to where you're going to go, or that your doctor gets to make a choice as to where you're going to go. Now, are there exclusions with these policies? Yes. There's a maximum age policy there. I think it's 75 with MedJet, although you can pay a higher premium if you're older than that. So get a travel advisor or travel agent to explain it to you, but that's what you want, okay? And you can buy an annualized policy. You can buy a family policy. It's not just per trip. And when you do it that way, the actual cost is amortized and comes down. Steve wants to know, how do you handle all that jet lag? I'm only 19, Steve. What's the matter with you? No, actually, here's how I do it. And I can't say it's going to work for you, right? But I'm going to tell you what works for me. No matter where I'm going, no matter what time I get there, right, I do one thing. I stay up until midnight local time when I arrive. But what do I do before I arrive? Well, when I'm on the plane, first of all, I'm not eating a lot of airline food, right? People don't eat airline food because they're hungry. They eat it because they're bored, right? And you end up wearing it. So bring on fruit, things that'll hydrate you, snacks that you like. No cooked food, please. You don't want to piss off the other passengers. And if you want to sleep on the plane, sleep on the plane. You want to work on the plane, work on the plane. You want to watch 6 movies on the plane, I don't care. It's what you do when you land that matters, at least for me. You stay up until midnight local time, even if the plane arrives at 7 in the morning. And if that means, you go out and shoot some hoops or, walk around the park, there's 2 things you do not want to do: a heavy lunch or an afternoon nap. You do either of those 2 things, your chin will be in your stomach and no one will see you for 3 days, including you. And then you reverse it on the way back. Do the exact same thing and you'll cycle. Anyway, I can't say it's going to work for you. You asked the question of what works for me, and that's what does. Jim says, I was on hold with Delta for 2 hours and 13 minutes just for one simple question. Jim, I got you beat. Just to test it the other day, I called at 10 o'clock at night, which I didn't think would be a busy hour. I put it on speakerphone while I went and did other work. 3 hours and 10 minutes. Literally. And here's the craziest thing about it. And by the way, this isn't just Delta. This is United. I don't know if it's America, but it's certainly United. The balls of these airlines to give you a recorded announcement and then say, when you're finished with the call, please stay online for a 2-minute survey about our service. I can give you that 2-minute survey now. You suck. 3 hours and 10 minutes, or in your case, 2 hours and 13 minutes? Unacceptable. So here's the deal. And I'm not here as a shill for travel agents, but if you've got one, use them. because they can get on their computers and get you information that you're not seeing on yours. Nobody should have to wait 2 hours and 13 minutes to give an airline your money. It just doesn't work. And it's inappropriate, it's rude, and it's disrespectful. Would you wait 2 hours and 13 minutes to get your dry cleaning? Would you wait 2 hours and 13 minutes to pick out a peach at the market? Why are you on hold for 2 hours? I did it as a test, right? For you guys. But I wouldn't do it for me, ever, okay? Okay, I saw Delta extended its elite statuses from Jen for another year, while other airlines offer similar extensions. Once again, it all depends on where you rank on the totem pole of frequent flyers. I do not believe that airlines are unilaterally making those extensions. And at the highest tier, whether it's Concierge Key at American or Global Services at United or Delta One, it's still going to be an arbitrary decision on the part of the airline as to how much you fly and how much you spend. You may be flying millions of miles a year, but if they're all on discount fares, they may not think you're worth it. It's a crazy metric that they're using right now. Okay, let's start scrolling down here. Hold on. Okay. American asked for the survey too. There you have it. Okay. American hasn't returned my call. This is from Kimber. American hasn't returned my call from 9 days ago. Wow. You know what American's motto is these days? It's their branding message. Taking care of you on life's journey. They sound like a hospice. How about returning the phone call? Okay. Wow. Bottom line, guys, sorry for the technical difficulties earlier, but back to Greece and back to the world being open again. Follow the science. Do your homework. The rules change rapidly. So, you know what? Bring your mask. Copies of your vaccination cards, right? You've heard me say it before. Make 3 copies. One, obviously you're carrying the original with you. One that you put in a safe place. One that you give to your significant other or traveling companion, and one that you pack in a suitcase that's not with any of your other documents. Okay? That's number 1. Don't laminate the card, because you know sooner or later we're going to have to get a booster, and they're going to have to mark that card. So that would be helpful as well. Then, number 2, get to the airport an hour earlier than you used to. You'll thank me. Number 3, to never accept a connect time of under 90 minutes, unless it's war and it's the last flight out, right? And then remember this, you're in control. Once you're in a country, as long as you play by the rules and follow the science, you're in control of your own great experience. So after I finish this broadcast, I'll put my mask back on, I'll go back to my cabin, I'll take my mask back off, I'll do some work, I'll put my mask back on, and I'll go to dinner where I'll take my mask back off. It's not that difficult. And tomorrow I'll go ashore at our next island destination, and I'll take my mask off when I leave the ship. It's not difficult. And it's going to get easier and easier and easier. Why? Because we've morphed in the metrics. We're focused now not on the vaccination levels of the destination, we're more focused on the vaccination levels of the people who want to go to the destination. So with America above 70%, why do you think the European Union opened up? Why do you think the United Kingdom opened up? Because they realize the safety issue is diminished. The fear might not be, but the safety issue might be. And they don't want to be left out of revenue for another summer from the largest industry in the world, travel and tourism. It's really that simple and that safe. And one of the things you need to know is that, and I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, we actually did one of our Facebook Lives from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, where the vaccination level was about 6%. Pathetic, right? I wore my mask, I was double vaccinated, I went there, I came back, I played by the rules, I'm not glowing in the dark and I'm not frothing at the mouth. So there is hope. Remember, in my estimation, not a doctor, don't play one on TV or on Facebook, The vaccinations have taken, at least for us, death off the table, and in many cases, hospitalization. That's great. That gives me renewed confidence to get back out in the world, and I hope it gives you that confidence as well if you play by the rules. Okay? So I hope you follow that, and I hope you stay in touch. One more thing about staying in touch. If you don't follow me already, I'm also on Twitter. My handle is @PeterS.Greenberg. We post on there just about every day. And Instagram, if you want to see some of our crazy photos, like the one I just showed you of that ship in the harbor in Crete, that's @PeterGreenberg. So one is called @PeterS.Greenberg, that's Twitter, and Instagram is @PeterGreenberg. So I hope you'll check in and follow me there. Always open to your questions and your suggestions. You can always email me to peter@petergreenberg.com. In the meantime, stick around for our radio show coming from this ship this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's CBS Eye on Travel. And of course, watch us on PBS on The Travel Detective. Guys, thanks for watching. Don't be too jealous. I'm actually working. I will split for dinner, but then I'm going back to work. I promise you. And we'll see you next week from a different location somewhere in the world. And we'll let you know what day it's going to be. It may slide a day. It'll either be Wednesday or it'll be Friday. It won't be Thursday because next Thursday I'll be flying. But we'll see you next Wednesday or next Friday. Stay in touch. And as Hugh Downs once said, and we'll be in touch. Bye, guys.